The new era begins. Terrelle Pryor, starting quarterback for your Seattle Seahawks.
You've had enough of that Russell Wilson guy. Yeah, he's no good.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Although, man, you'd swear some people thought that's actually what went down when the Seahawks made an interesting trade. They traded a 7th-round pick in the upcoming draft, probably in the upcoming draft. We don't know specifically. It might be in next year's draft where they have a bunch of 7th-round picks. It could be conditional whether or not he makes the team, all of that sort of stuff. But Terrelle Pryor right now is a member of the Seahawks. They've added a 6'6", 245-pounder who can run a 4.36 40, plays quarterback, not particularly great though. And I think John Schneider and Pete Carroll view as a fun little weapon to have in their arsenal.
Yeah, and everybody's wondering where do you use him, because you signed Tavares Jackson to a deal. He's your backup quarterback.
Guaranteed deal too. Yeah.
Guaranteed money. Everybody in that locker room loves him. He's a guy that is mobile, has a cannon arm, and I would argue is a much better quarterback than Terrelle Pryor. So you start wondering, all right, in what capacity do they use him? And the idea started flowing. Well, he's going to be a receiver. He's going to be Jimmy Graham. He's going to be a tight end. He's going to be a safety. He's going to be and everybody talks about him like they did with Tim Tebow, like that transition to a brand new position is going to be seamless. That somehow he will be a better tight end than any other tight end that they've got on the roster, or somebody else that's been playing that position from Pee Wee League on up through high school and college, and he's going to step right in and be better than them. And the same is true for wide receiver. I just don't think the transition to a new position is nearly as seamless as some like to make it out to be.
No.
So I could see him being used in some circumstances where they want to keep the defense honest, or keep them off balance. Maybe he does become a return guy. You never know. But I think the idea that he's just going to step right into another position without any hesitation whatsoever isn't being realistic.
Imagine a 6'6", 245-pound return guy. That would be a unique-looking thing, too. No, I agree. I mean, look, there are certain guys. I mean, the Seahawks had him as a coach for years. Nolan Cromwell played quarterback at Kansas, came into the league, played safety. Antoine Randall is a name that came up. Played quarterback in Indiana, came into the league, made him a wide receiver. There are certain guys you do that with right away.
Out of college,
yeah. And it can happen. But in the case of Terrelle Pryor, it's a guy who's played quarterback now a couple of years in this league, started a few games last year, has some skills, has some great athletic ability, was one of the most highly sought-after quarterbacks in the country in college, just is really not very polished. I think the Seahawks view him as an opportunity to polish him up and see what they have. Compete with Tavares Jackson, I agree with you. I think he's a third-string quarterback. I think that they may, if he makes the team, and I think it's 50-50 that he makes the team, they may try and find a situation where there are some plays drawn up for him. I think a guy like Carroll and Schneider view this as, hey, wouldn't it be fun to have Russell Wilson behind the center with Percy Harvin standing right next to him, and then you send Terrelle Pryor off in motion. What's the defense going to do? Mm-hmm. I think it's that kind of thinking. It's the sort of thing you can do when you have a team like the Seahawks, as elite as they are. You can take a flyer on a guy, which I think is all they've done here, and if it works out, all the better. If not, didn't cost you a thing.
Yeah, you risk a guy that may not have made the roster anyway. A 7th-round pick. Very few of those guys make the roster. They have in the past. But we talked about potential plays for him where we've seen they throw the ball to Sidney Rice, who then becomes a quarterback and throws the ball.
Yeah.
Or Golden Tate or Marshawn Lynch. We've seen that play. I'd like him in that sense, touching the ball and throwing the ball. I don't see him ever taking a snap as a quarterback when Russell Wilson's healthy. So that again leads to the ultimate question and how he's used. I think he becomes a specialty guy.
We'll see.